What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another GEST July replay. Sorry, it's been a minute since I brought you one, and by a minute I mean like 2 days. And I usually pump out replays much faster than that, but you know, it was my birthday this past weekend, so I had to celebrate that. So less time for caster replays, but now that it's not my birthday, now that we're back in the week, I will do my best to bring you all the replays possible. But anyways, this is a matchup between MSIEvoGT, who just recently won the MSI Overdrive tournament in the Philippines, versus G7, a Burmese team, or I guess we'll now call them Myanmar. So we'll see how they shape up. G7 has been in the GST for quite a while, but they haven't really made it out of the group stages, I don't think, in any of the tournaments. So we'll see if they can take the next step, much like Skynet, and see if they can overthrow one of the most powerful teams in the Filipino scene, I think next to Pacific Emax, or formerly known as Pacific Badburn. So we'll see how this decides to shape up. And in case you guys are wondering, no, Apple Park did not qualify and were not invited to this tournament. So that's a bit unfortunate for them, but maybe we'll see more Apple Park in the future. We'll see some Shadow Fiend and Centaur and things like that. But in this tournament, we have MSIEvoGT bang the Barrier and the Lone Druid, and that's a little bit odd considering the Filipinos players' stance on Lone Druid. They don't mind giving him away, they just like to gank him over and over again, and Lone Druid, who does not pick up his reigns at an appropriate time, well, is not very useful because it gives so much time and experience and farm to the Lone Druid, and if he cannot contribute in a team fight, then he'll be pretty much useless. But they decide to ban him nonetheless. Maybe they know that G7 likes to pick up these Chinese traditional heroes, Barrier, Syllabary, and Lycanthrope. And we're going to see Earthshaker, Rubik, and Queen of Pain being banned by G7. And looks like G7 open up with the Naga pick. Naga, very, very dominant hero these days in Southeast Asian and in the Chinese scene from what I'm hearing from live streams and things like that. Naga, of course, a very powerful initiator, a lot of crowd control with the net, can go through BKB, a solid Lycanthrope counter, and Song of the Siren with such a ridiculous cast range sets up other combinations beautifully. Meanwhile, MSIEvoGT counterpick with the Shadow Demon, so we're going to see if they decide to pick up the Moons for the Triline right off the bat, or if they're going to pick up some mid-solo. Dragon Knight is still in the pool, Puck is still in the pool, Queen of Pain was banned by G7. Maybe they haven't noticed that, you know, Queen of Pain has not been doing so successfully, or maybe they just fear MSIEvoGT's Queen of Pain that much, but Puck is a secondary pickup for MSIEvoGT, so they have their top lane solo. But G7 isn't really a sort of a chasing team that really relies on chaotic team fights. They like to set it up, play it very close to the bone, and just sort of, you know, out team fight their way to victory. And in that situation, Puck is still a really useful hero, but he's not as useful as he would be against other Pinoy teams. And we're going to see Crystal Main and Darkseer combine with the Naga first pick, and meanwhile Morphling is immediate pickup by MSIEvoGT. And Morphling, of course, a very strong counter pick against Radiance carries, and of course a very strong carry these days if you want to go for that route. But he's still faded out recently in both Dota 1 and Dota 2, just because, you know, he takes a bit of time to farm up, but still, if you want to go hard carry, there are a few better than Morphling. Meanwhile, Darkseer with combined with the Naga pick indicates to me that G7 they're experimenting with a wombo combo lineup. They want to go for an insane team fight, put everybody to sleep with the Song of Siren, and then just kill everybody once everybody wakes up. And then just the thing when you wake up inside a Naga Siren ultimate with the vacuum sucking everybody in, it won't be very pleasant dreams afterwards. It'll just be a nightmare for your team if that combination gets executed perfectly. But still, it's very rare that that combo gets executed perfectly. We see Invoker being the ban by MSIEvoGT, clearly sensing, okay, G7, you know, they want to go for some massive AoE teamfight. Let's decide to ban out some massive AoE teamfight heroes. We'll ban out the Invoker, whose meteor would just wreak so much havoc with the combination of Naga Siren and the Darkseer, and Tiny as well, with that AoE, can just dish out a whole bunch of damage. You know, G7 decides to ban the Dragon Knight and the Sand King, knowing that Dragon Knight is still a favorite, and MSIEvoGT still needs a mid-solo hero, so they decide to ban out the Dragon Knight. Sand King, of course, pretty much a ban these days if they don't want to get counter-initiated on, if they want to just execute their team fight too perfectly, and Sand King is just caught out on the fringe and can blink in with the epicenter and disrupt a lot of your team fight. Axe is the pickup for G7. Meanwhile, MSIEvoGT counterpicks with one of their favorites, Thrall the Disruptor. So Thrall has definitely seen a lot of success for MSIEvoGT, especially in the MSI Overdrive tournament, and you can check those games out on my channel right here, guys. There won't be any links in the description, but just go back, you'll see MSIEvoGT versus AlphaPark, where they utilize Thrall to very, very strong effect. But in this game, they're going to pick up Thrall, and they're going to be facing an Axe and Dirge, so they're definitely going with the massive counter pick. Vacuum sucking everybody in from the sleep, and then Axe setting up with the counter helix. Dirge, Tombstone allowed a couple seconds to tick in before he gets his focus down, so those zombies will still do a huge amount of damage. And there is no Earthshaker pick because G7 decided to ban the Earthshaker with their first pick. So MSIEvoGT, they have to think long and hard about who they want their mid solo to be, whether it be a Thrall, a Shadow Demon, or those two heroes will protect the Morphe in lane, which is most likely choice. So who will MSIEvoGT counter pick with? Will they pick up with Shadow Fiend? I think they might want to get more of a disable slash a survivable hero who can just sort of escape the teamfight setup of G7. But we'll see how they shape up. I mean, there's still a lot of heroes left in the pool. No Axe, even though Axe is a favorite, and I think this is a lineup that Axe can thrive very well. There's no immediate mid-solo counter pick. Axe will function quite well in the team fight, and you know my thoughts on Axe. In general, he's not really that useful. He doesn't deserve a first pick or first ban, in my honest opinion. And we're going to see Windrunner, a very, very common pickup, and Windrunner is probably going to be soloing the mid lane up against the Axe. So Windrunner should have a relatively decent time. She has some pretty good attack animation to deal with Axe's battle hunger. But still, she probably won't be able to kill the Axe. Axe should still be able to get a reasonable amount of farm. And Counter Helix won't be able to do too much harassment. But still, Axe, if he plays his cards right, should be able to survive well enough to get some survivability. And just be A-OK after that. So we'll introduce the players and the teams for both sides, as I do not think... No, here we go. So, for G7, we have Kenji playing the Darkseer, Sho T playing the Naga, Leo playing the Axe. Who is that? VR Cat playing the Crystal Main, and Calais playing the Undying. Meanwhile, we have Kimo playing the Thrall, Max playing the Shadow Demon, Rara playing the Windrunner, TRM or RMT playing the Puck, and Nage playing the Morphling as per usual as the hard carry. So MSIEvoGT, if you watched my recent commentaries versus AlphaPark, they played very well with the Thrall. They usually like to play it more slow and carefully and close to the bone, play very deliberately, and I really respect that playing style just because it's not as chaotic as we see in typical Pinoy Dota. But in this game, they might have to... The slow and steady playing style might not suit them just because they do not have the teamfight lineup to match up against a G7 squad. Dirge Tombstone will just be such an annoying threat to deal with. And we're going to see Darkseer soloing the top lane. Meanwhile, we're going to have a try of Naga, Dirge as a support in the tri lane, and Crystal Main. Now, Dirge as support in the tri lane I'm not a huge fan of. I'd rather he be a dual lane or get the primary farm in the tri lane. But I can see where G7 is coming from. They'll probably put some points in Decay, hit that AoE, steal a lot of strength, and then before going on the offensive. But still, I'd rather get Dirge get some levels, get the max level of Tombstone where it can become super effective in the early game before people start focusing down as to get more damage and more tank ability, and they do not fear the Tombstone as much. But in this situation, Dirge maxing the DK wouldn't be too big a surprise. Meanwhile, the counter trailing of Shadow Demon, Morphling, and Thrall, 3 range with a lot of harassment versus 2 melee with just a Crystal Main. I think MSIEvoGT's trailing should be A-OK, especially since Dirge will not be getting too many levels. Meanwhile, Puck versus the Darkseer. Puck should have an okay time, but Darkseer should be able to out-harass with Ion Shell just because he can spam it a bit harder. And so far, I think the laning advantage should go in favor of MSIEvoGT, but still, anything can happen. We see Naga pick up Riptide at level 1 rather than Net or Ensnare. Meanwhile, Thrall is going to come in for harass and just hitting down the Dirge a little bit. Dirge is just going to take it like a boss and just hit the Thrall even more. Meanwhile, you see Windrunner going the offensive quite heavily already. Axe not having too good of a time. Probably going to pick up a bottle. Are there 2 couriers? Yes, there are 2 couriers for the Burmese Juggernauts in the form of the G7 squad. Meanwhile, Dirge might be the first one to fall. Does Morphling have enough mana for waveform? No, he does not, and looks like Morphling's in a lot of trouble. Will he waveform back through the trees? No, he's going to try to tangle, but he's in so much trouble. Riptide picks up the first kill of the game, and looks like Naya wants blood. She smells it, and will she go on the offensive? No, the golems are just providing so much ample physical harassment. It's really really annoying the Naga quite a bit. Will Thunderstrike be casted? No, Mirror Illusion picked up at level 2, and nice job, goes on the offensive, kills Thrall as well, nicely done by Sho T, outplaying MSIEvoGT, and he does not want to go offensive on TNC, or, sorry, Max, because he knew that Morphling teleported in. He didn't want to risk his life just to pick up another kill on the Shadow Demon after he already picked up 2 kills and the first blood. So nicely done by the Naga and the G7 squad. I predicted that MSI Overdrive should win in the laning phase, but it looks like the all-out tanking powers of Naga and Dirge are just very, very difficult to deal with. And Crystal Main, of course, with 2 pretty powerful nukes early on in the game, is nothing to be underestimated with. Meanwhile, Shadow Demon, not too powerful at level 1, really needs level 2 so he can get that Soul Catcher up to amplify his damage by a great amount. Thrall not that powerful unless he picks up a lot of levels. So if the MSIEvoGT tri-lane does not start doing work, their supports are going to be in a lot of trouble. Thrall, Shadow Demon need a decent amount of experience. Thrall especially wants that level 11 for Stackstorm, needs a good level in Kinetic Field and Glimpse to prevent people from running away. Meanwhile, Dirge is, I guess, perfectly fine staying at level 1, just going to spam Decay and Soul Rip and keep himself alive and keep his allies alive when possible. Naga level 3 picks up an energy booster, and this indicates that they want to go for very aggressive pushing with their early game teamfight lineup, and this looks like it to be a smart choice. So Arcane Boots to buff up her ally hero's mana pools will just be really, really effective in this situation. Meanwhile, how's Darkseer doing? Looks like he's in A-OK shape. Probably will pick up a Soul Ring or a bottle. Meanwhile, Puck is being harassed quite heavily, like I said. Puck is getting completely outlaned by this Darkseer player, so good on this Darkseer. So it looks like 2 of the lanes for MSIEvoGT are not winning. Meanwhile, Axe, unfortunately, is getting harassed quite heavily by Windrunner. Picks up a bottle, is bottle curling as fast as he can. So Axe can continue to remain in the lane, and he's just going to continue to do that, do some battle hunger harassment. But still, Windrunner with Power Shot, with the good attack animation, with the attack animation canceling, is just Axe's worst nightmare in lane. Morphing's just going to wave out A-OK, but still use up a bit of mana in that escape, and still has to be pretty careful. Has to save some mana points into waveform and some mana points into morph if there are any more engagements. Meanwhile, Naga is just content to farm up. Dirge hits level 2. I wonder what he picked up. Looks like Riptide's going to be casted. They want to go in the offensive forward. Morphling, can Crystal Main get the Frost Nova off? Yes, she does. But still not enough damage, and Morphling still had enough mana to waveform. Level 4 Morphling farming relatively well, 15-4. But meanwhile, Naga Siren has been farming 13-0. And still not the best farm, but more importantly, she's picked up the first blood and a kill to boot. Meanwhile, unfortunately for the Morphling, the creep blade pushes the tower. I'm not too sure about this pull because now Thrall and the MSIEvoGT squad are caught in the middle of nowhere, and that's a problem with the pulling when you least expect it. That's why we often see in pub games Thrall just not, or pulling just not being too effective when the other team has pushing lineup. But still, level 1 Tombstone not doing anything is just going to die into the neutrals and will not even be able to kill that creep. So level 1 Tombstone, very, very, very weak. And that will be enough to prevent the Burmese squad from pushing in. Meanwhile, Axe is getting harassed quite heavily by Windrunner, who gets battle hungered. Will Windrunner die? Thunderstrike picking up the kill on Axe. Will Windrunner die? No, she picks up the last hit with the double damage. Nicely done by the MSIEvoGT squad. Nicely done by Thrall, picking up some experience where he can, because Thrall needs so much experience once to max out nuke. Meanwhile, will the Burmese squad go on the offensive? Morphling does enough mana for waveform, and he has 7 charges on the magic wand. So it looks like G7 playing a bit more passively, but still good on MSIEvoGT, securing some experience and some gold for that Thrall, and just allowing their mid lane to dominate even harder than usual. DK being casted on the Morphling. Can they get a net or a Frostbite off? No, Crystal Main is just going to do some physical harassment, usher Morphling away, and Morphling is not giving nearly enough room to free farm as he'd like, and Dirge is at level 3, so we'll see what level he decides to pick up. Dirge in a trial line, still not really the best way to use Dirge in my honest opinion, because he's such a powerful early to mid game hero with that max level Tombstone. But still, I guess he's doing okay. He's providing a meat shield, which is pretty much what they want. They want to harass the Dirge. Arcane Boots picked up by the Naga Siren. Ring of Basilius picked up for the Dirge. And looks like the Burmese squad want to push. Crystal Main does not have too much of anything. And looks like they're just going to tower dive for the Morphling. No, Rip died. Just doing a lot of damage to DK. And the Magic Wand is popped. Meanwhile, Shadow Demon's caught in the Kinetic Field. Note, that is Thrall's Kinetic Field, of course. Tombstone being casted. It is level 1. But still, Riptide picks up the kill because it follows the illusions now. So nicely done by microing the illusions by Shoti. And Shoti's just been proving to be a huge menace, a huge thorn in the side of MSIEvoGT, and it looks like Morphling has full mana, can waveform out of there, but no, DK combined with Frostbite, and looks like Thrall's going to take the fall as well. MSIEvoGT just being played with on this bottom lane. Not really too sure why they stuck around so long, but the tankiness and the fearlessness of Burma and G7 are just proving to be very, very difficult to deal with. So this bottom lane is completely lost by MSIEvoGT, but meanwhile they are winning the middle lane, which is something. But still, Axis level 6 is going to pick up some form of regen pretty soon, or boots, and just keep bottle curling it up. So let's just check out this top lane. Puck 25-2. Meanwhile, Darkseer 30-1. So Darkseer is doing a nice job. Darkseer is out-leveling the Puck by a full level. So this is not what you expect to see. Puck, of course, very low HP. So Iron Shell will be a very, very big deterrent against this Puck. But still, you do not expect to see that. There's a huge dive on the bottom lane. Morphling is going to wave out, morphing everything in strength. But looks like the Burmese squad wants to go on the offensive. Can they get the net off? Yes, the net is casted on Nage, and Nage is in a lot of trouble, morphing everything to strength, but he's running out of mana rapidly and still very, very low HP. 1000 HP, ran out of strength, or ran out of agility to morph with, and Nage takes the fall once again. Meanwhile, on the top lane, looks like G7, Kenji managed to pick up a kill on Max, so I think that was the Shadow Demon. So Kenji, the Darkseer, despite the help of the Puck, still at full HP despite that gank, and so MSIEvoGT look like they're in the world of hurt, and this pushing lineup with the Ring of Basilius aura turned on and with the Tombstone cutting off creep waves along with the Naga Illusion still doing a relatively big amount of damage in the early game, and so it'll be pretty difficult to stop because in terms of anti-push, what does MSIEvoGT have? Yes, they have the Puck, yes, they have the Windrunner, but they can't really leave their lanes or else their lanes will get pushed against. Axe, one of the best pushes in the game, cutting off creep waves. Darkseer can do that as well. So these heroes cannot really leave their lane, so bottom lane is going to be lost completely, and looks like MSIEvoGT are just going to abandon it completely. Now Morphling wants to get some more action, and it has to be very careful because these heroes with the Arcane Boots and with the Ring of Basilius are regenning up to very full mana. Meanwhile, it looks like Axe took the fall in the middle lane, Soul Catcher in combination with the Thrall and the Windrunner still cleaned him up, and I'm not really too sure if I like the focus. I think Windrunner picked off the Axe relatively easily. I think I'd rather put some more focus on Darkseer, but it's still very difficult to get the Darkseer without a spell like Dream Coil, without a spell like Glimpse, or without a high level of kinetic field to keep him in place. So I guess they want to keep down the Axe as much as possible to prevent the combo as long as possible, but still expect Axe to pick up sufficient points in Berserker's Call as the game goes on. Tombstone being casted along with Ensnare as my mouse bugged out a little bit. Morphling in a lot of trouble, is going to waveform into the trees, should be able to escape just fine, but this tower is surely going to fall, and looks like the Naga Illusions are tanking it up for a bit, and that's creep wave approaches this tower. Tombstone level 3 because Dirge is level 5, and this tower is going to be in a lot of trouble. Tombstone lasting for about 20 seconds, I think, at level 3 or 15. So this tower is going to be in a lot of trouble, but there's a Brave Soul teleporting in. Looks like it is the Puck. He is level 7. Should have the Dream Coil, but these heroes are quite tanky. Well, he cast the Dream Coil. DK being casted on a couple heroes, so this Dirge getting a lot of HP. 986 HP without any strength increasing items. Dream Coil casted on 2 heroes. Thunder Strike and Illusionary Orb being casted, and looks like Crystal Maiden's going to be in a lot of trouble. Glimpse sucking Naga back in the kinetic field. DK constantly being spammed, and looks like Naga's going to be forced to retreat. It's still at 300 HP. Do they have enough chasing and nuking power to kill this? No, salve up by the Naga Siren, and looks like she'll be able to escape A-OK. Nice countering by MSIEvoGT, and all the while Windrunner is keeping Axe in back of her pocket, just constantly proving to be such an annoyance. It looks like this Curve might be in a little bit of trouble. No, Darkseer misses because he's a melee hero. Woe is this Darkseer, but he's going to cut off the creep wave since Puck migrated to that bottom lane. It looks like there is a dive for the Morphling on the bottom lane. He's morphing everything in strength and snare, but he has no mana for a waveform, and looks like this Morphling is in a lot of trouble. He's running out of agility. He ran out of agility to morph, and now Morphling is indefinitely for a world of hurt. Decay being cast, but it looks like Max picked up a kill on Leo, the Axe player. The 4-man gank to kill the Axe, but they're not going to protect their Morphling. Not really too sure if I agree with that. I guess they figured Morphling was a lost cause because he was out of mana, but still, do you really need to focus so much of your attention on Axe when you've already won the lane? Not too sure about MSIEvoGT's decision making. Maybe they didn't want to be fodder to the Dirge Naga combination, but right now the pushing power of Burma and G7 proving to be very difficult to deal with, and you can see Darkseer just by cutting off the creep waves did immense damage to that tower. 10 minutes in, 13 kills. We'll check out the farm early game, but farm does not paint the whole picture, and right now you can see, despite that, G7, even though they haven't been farming as well, they still are out-farming the MSIEvoGT squad. Darkseer 58 CS, meanwhile the max player on the MSIEvoGT squad, Windrunner 52 CS, Naga with 36, and Axe with 27, and meanwhile not much farm to speak of for the MSIEvoGT squad as Crystal Maiden comes in with the Frost Nova. Will Axe get a revenge kill for all the times Windrunner gave him so much trouble? Yes, Axe gets the Culling Blade kill. Nice job by Crystal Maiden rotating, and looks like there's a lot of action on the bottom lane. No, it's just Dirge and Naga, so very tanky, just cutting off creep waves left and right, and just providing a lot of damage to the tower. Dirge might be in a little bit of trouble. Soul Rip, of course, such a strong skill, such a strong heal in the early game. Decay being cast, it looks like Dirge is in a lot of trouble. A couple more hits, and Naga's not focusing the Dirge. Can the zombies clean up where their master failed? No, Demonic Purge is casted on Naga. Do not know how Shadow Demon. Halo Sex Disruption being casted as well, but the zombies are just doing a whole bunch of damage. Crystal Main picks up a kill, and looks like the Shadow Demon and the Thrall both fell. Morphling taking a lot of damage as well. Not enough mana for wave from Naga is caught out in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, VR Cat dies. Do not know how, but I guess he did. Song of Siren being casted. Windrunner, the highest farm hero, cannot pursue this Naga. And what will Windrunner decide to go for? Because she's the only hero who's proving to be successful on the MSIEvoGT roster. And I think I'd rather get her some early damage or another disable just to hold people in place. But as time goes on, as more and more towers are taken, as this teamfight lineup comes into fruition, the G7 squad will just be so difficult to deal with. And you can see Dirge, despite not being the primary farmer, with the farm of the Tombstone, with the Lava Assist Gold, just being so very tanky, picked up a cloak and an Urn of Shadow, so it'll be really difficult to bring down by these early game nukes. Meanwhile, Morphling is desperately trying to pick up any farm, but this is what you can do against Morphling in the early game. He's not the best early game hero. He has a nuke, but still, you do not want to use it offensively where you're in a lot of danger of dying yourself. Meanwhile, Naga has not died. 5-0 for this Naga. Picked up a Vanguard so early on. It's going to be really, really difficult to deal with. But it looks like MSIEvoGT want to get the gank party going. But will they catch the Dirge instead? Thrall and Shadow Demon are smoked up. But it looks like they're going to go on the offensive for the Morphling. Morphling waves out in the complete the wrong direction. Waves out into the allies, so I guess I can see where he's going. Meanwhile, Dirge is going to get counter-ganked, Connect Field holding people in place, but Nash did take the fall from the Axe with the Culling Blade, and looks like Riptide combined. Puck picks off the Dirge with the Dream Call and the Winning Rift, but Axe comes in with the Culling Blade, kills the Fairy Dragon, and now MSIEvoGT on full retreat. Windrunner is ensnared. Can they get the Berserker's Call? No. Stack Storm is casted, silencing and doing a buttload of damage to everybody on G7 squad. Looks like Axe takes the fall. Once again, so much action, 22 kills, and I think G7, they might want to turn around. Naga Siren, so very tanky, so very difficult to deal with. Is going to cut down a tree with the Cloning Blade. Will go on the offensive forward. The Windrunner gets a Riptide with the Ensnare, but gets Shackle Shy. But the Centaurs just proved to be such annoyance. Whose side are you on, Centaurs? It's supposed to be in the Central Jungle. Crystal Man going to channel the ultimate. It looks like Rara is going to take the fall as well. Nothing is going MSIEvoGT's way, as Naga's going to get Surge. Catch a Cassian Ensnare. Yes, she does on Thrall and can take the tower for quite a bit. Illusions are being casted. Will they get the Riptide? Yes, they do. Can they chase in? Darkseer is here for some more Surge action, as Darkseer decided top lane is too boring. This is where all the action is at. If they can get another stay off, no, it looks like Naga's going to think better of it. But now Puck's in a bit of trouble. Already used the Illusory Orb, and now it looks like Crystal Main's going to take a lot of damage from the tower. But no, the tower is attacking Naga. Naga's going to have to back off for now because he's taking so much damage up from the tower. But Puck is going to get harassed by the Dirge and the Darkseer, and looks like Puck will be able to escape A-OK. Meanwhile, all the while, Morphling's just like, screw that lane, guys. Gonna farm top. But right now, Burma and G7 are just gonna cut off the creep waves, push down this tier 2 tower on the bottom lane, and Naga will pick up yet more gold. And once you go for Radiance, an early game Radiance will be so incredibly difficult to deal with. No, still extremely far away from finishing any sort of relic. As looks like Darkseer might be in a bit of trouble. No, Darkseer, Hood Defiance, and Vanguard pretty much unkillable at this stage of the game, but Soul Catcher can do wonders, as he's going to get Illusion Orb and Silence. Dream Coil going to come in, but Darkseer, even despite being Soul Catcher, here comes the Wall of Illusion, sucking everybody in with the Tombstone, and it looks like, will they get the vacuum off? No, Naga puts everybody to sleep. They want to get more and more zombies to build up. The Song of the Siren is cancelled. Looks like Thrall is the first one to fall, and in the midst of all that chaos, looks like MSIEvoGT's Courier did die. Puck is going to be the next one to fall. Should he not have enough mana to lose their orb? Defensive Disruption being casted. Darkseer just has infinite mana at this point with the Soul Ring. Is going to vacuum everybody back in. Can he kill the Puck? Yes, he will. And Darkseer is just so incredibly tank at this point in the game. And this incredible brute force bludgeoning lineup of G7 just proving to be so difficult to deal with. But looks like Morphling cleaned up a tower on the top lane. Can he get anything? Or will this farm be too little, too late? As he does not scale very well. Going for the Lincoln Sphere, so will not be an offensive threat for quite a while. Meanwhile, this Naga proving to be very relevant in all stages of the game. Burma and G7 want to push the middle lane, just keep up their advantage, and they're not giving MSIEvoGT any room to breathe, and which is what MSIEvoGT loves to do. They love to control the pace of the game, whether it be through chasing or just controlling through team fights and counter ganks. But right now, they are not looking very, very sharp at all. Unfortunately, it looks like Burma has picked up a brute force lineup, giving away the Naga with the first pick, and now you see why Naga is first pick worthy in the Southeast Asian Dota scene. So I'm going to pull it on the screen and take a drink of water because this is just so much action. 25 kills. You You can see Darkseer not even bothering to pick up boots, has Surge, and that's pretty much all he needs. A level 12, so has a couple points into Surge as well. Should have a couple points into Wall of Illusion as well. Will they go on the offensive before the axe gets disrupted and Static Storm? Here comes the Thunder Strike, and Tombstone is dropped, but it will die very, very fast just because there's no backup support, and that's a free 100 gold. And still, without that, it will be difficult to stop this impending MSIEvoGT push. But still, any hero can do it. Naga, with the help of Dirge, if they do not push fast enough, will be enough. And Morphing's going to get harassed on the bottom lane by Naga Siren, picks up Perseverance all the while, and looks like he's just going to replicate out of there. Just wants no part of this bottom lane at all. Just wants to pick up as much farm as he can, but Dirge is going to come in, cast a DK, taking a bunch of HP, 1100 HP from that DK as well with the cloak. Meanwhile, Shadowdune trying to build an Earned Vacuum, going to come in, just harassing, stalling for time, and Tombstone should be up, and if Naga chooses to teleport in, I fear for the lives of MSIEvoGT, let me tell you that, guys. Mechanism is desperately needed for the Windrunner, and despite saying, you know, giving so much farm, despite Windrunner succeeding so well, Mechanism is a smart choice. I'm not really too sure if Force Staff would be a suitable counter choice, considering she's pretty much the only farm, but Mechanism will still help the MSIEvoGT squad survive the massive teamfight lineup on the G7 side. Axe with the Vanguard and Phase Boots, Darkseer, Mechanism, Hood, Vanguard. This Darkseer is so stacked, man. How can they bring him down? They can't bring him down, and he will just be able to pop the heals and just keep his whole team alive. Dirge with providing a lot of heal. Axe putting everybody in with the Berserker's Call. It will just be so difficult to kill this G7 squad. I'm not too sure what MSIEvoGT can do. They need a magical kinetic field in Static Storm combination with Shadowdune stacking up poisons left and right. Stacking those poisons like you stack those dollar bills at the club, but it looks like the Connect Field is going to whiff. No, just lands on Darkseer's Shackle Shot, but still they cannot go on the offensive. Look how little damage this Darkseer is taking. He just does not give any sorts of fuck. Song of Siren being casted. Can they get people in? Song of Siren, such a ridiculous cast range. Tombstone being dropped. No vacuum in. They want to go for the Windrunner instead, get the for sure kill, and looks like Windrunner is going to take the fall. Yes, gets defensively disrupted. Puck drops the Dream Coil, holding 3 people in chase, but Berserker's Gall gonna hold in the Windrunner, and now looks like unfortunately the Puck stayed a little bit too close and died to the Berserker's Call and Soul Rip. And right now Calais, the Dirge, just getting more and more souls and getting more and more tank, just full HP all the while. How will MSIEvoGT stop this push? I do not know how they can do it. Shadow Demon, not really the best anti-pusher without levels, and probably is just trying to get as many levels as possible. Level 1 point in disruption, but now Thrall might be the next one to fall. Connect Field being dropped. Soul Ripped and Decay just bringing down Thrall HP so very low, and Morphling, of course, being a complete non-factor. Even if they give up this bomb tier 1 tower, it will be all worth it, but still they do not know if they have the offensive sieging power without the Dirge Tombstone. They're going to send the Naga Siren back to farm up because they have this game. They have all the map control in the world. So Naga is content to farm up a bit more. How much gold did she have? 5, 0, and 10. 3,800 gold in the bank. My god, this Naga Siren is so stacked. Not even farming well, but why need farm when you've been involved in 15 kills? You killing 5 and taking part in 10 additional ones. My god, it'll be so difficult to stop. Meanwhile, this Darkseer is proving to be the MVP. Getting so tanked, so fast. Just can stand in the midst of all the barrage spell damage for the MSIEvoGT squad, but let's see if Morphling can get enough farm to provide some sort of difference. We'll be able to pick up his Ultimate Orb shortly, and looks like Morphling is just going to try to motor down this tower, but he cannot underestimate the damage of Tombstone in their early game, and he can still Soul Rip it to give that Tombstone a bit of extra life, but no, looks like he's going to let it fall. No, Soul Rips it just to stall for a couple more seconds, but this tower will be protected. Darkseer coming in with the Ion Shell, replicate out by the Morphling as Naga Siren took the fall on the bottom lane. Song of Siren was on cooldown. Demonic Purge combined with the Kinetic Field and Static Storm, able to pick up a kill, as that's a nice job. Going to secure the Naga Siren's death for a bit, but she still has enough money for Relic. Should she choose to do that, or she might just choose to get tankier, go for some sort of Mantistel or Yasha combination rather than a Radiance. But still, so much gold to work with, and now this bomb tower will fall for G7 just because it was sieged so heavily by creeps. So MSIEvoGT with some counter ganks and with some pushing, looking to get themselves back in game. Morphling should pick up his Linked Sphere relatively soon as he picks up the last set on the tower. Nicely done. Darkseer just going to send solutions, cannot go on the offensive, but has no threat of dying. No mana to cast multiple surges, only enough mana to cast one surge. Is going to surge nonetheless, try to get some right clicks down. No, Soul Ring will cancel the Shadow Demon's vacuum, and nicely done as Shadow Demon's caught between a rock and a Darkseer. And that's never one place you want to be caught. As Shadow Demon's going to take the fall. Nice tree blocking and nice illusion micro by the or sorry, yeah, he picked up the illusion rather, but those are defensive disruption illusions nonetheless. But still nicely done by the Darkseer, using his Soul Ring whenever it's off cooldown. And will he pick up a Void Storm Arcane Boots, or will he just try to refuel up through that? Axe, meanwhile, picks up a Vanguard, just checking out the gold really fast. Darkseer, 50 golden meg, picked up Arcane Boots just there and then, so now you can have more mana spam. Axe, 2100 golden meg, can pick up a Blink Dagger. Naga just picked up the Sacred Relic, so she can go on the offensive. But looks like, will there be a gank by the Morphling? Morphling is just going to get the heck out of there, wants no part of any sort of Naga Sirens. Just going to continue farming up, but picks up Boots of Travel. Well, I guess there's not too many single target spells other than Ensnare and Axe's Battle Hunger, so Boots of Travel will allow for Morphling to do some split pushing, but still, if you want to go that route, I'd rather you pick up some straight damage or tank, go for straight BKB or something like that. But still, BKB against Naga Siren, still not the most useful item in the game. So I can see where he's coming from with the Boots of Travel. Needs to split push, needs to delay as long as possible, push out the other lanes, but looks like G7 is giving 0 Fs at all. Surge going to be casted as the Song of Siren going to come in for initiation. All of the MSIEvoGT squad spreading out, but Shadow Demon is still caught up in the barrage. Blink in and the Tombstone with the Calling Blade, easily able to pick up, but Stag Storm and Dream Cold catching 3 heroes. Axe might be the first one to fall. Mechanism keeping everybody alive. Dirge might be the next one to fall. Pops the Flesh Golem, gets his immense Soul Rip off. Meanwhile, Morphling is in a lot of trouble. That perfect Stag Storm and Dream Cold might not be enough. Looks like the MSIEvoGT squad are just a little bit too underfarmed, and G7 just going to bulldoze their way to a free middle barracks, and Morphling was going to have to think about whether he should buy back, or no, he didn't die, whether he should push the top lane to get a free tower, or will he to try to defend this middle lane. Looks like Naga Siren's going to be in a lot of trouble, very, very close to dying. One Adaptive Strike, one more hit by the puck, one more hit! No, she's going to escape barely with the blink of the life, or with the sliver of HP, as Dirge casts the Urn. Dirge just proving to be such an annoying hero. 25 minutes into the game, gets going to get Waveform and Soul Catcher, taking so much damage. Auto attacks like Windrunner proving its worth, but Darkseer is back. He's here with a vengeance. Going to come with a Vacuum and the Ion Shell, proving to be so chaotic. Tombstone being casted once again, and now MSIEvoGT are surely screwed. Tombstone thrives best when there's chaos, and you cannot focus down the Tombstone. And right now, unfortunately, MSIEvoGT cannot focus it down. Looks like Show T, the Naga, did die, but still, the Tombstone and the Darkseer should be sufficient enough to kill this tier 3 tower, but no. Looks like this defense by MSIEvoGT, or by MSIEvoGT, are proving to be too difficult. Morphling is going to take the fall. Calling Blade not picking up the kill, but still, Kenji picks up the kill with the Ion Shell. Does Morphling have buyback? He should have buyback. He should use it, but still, if he buys back, what can he do? No hero is very low HP except for the Crystal Maiden. You do not want to sacrifice a Morphling for a Crystal Maiden. Looks like Morphling's going to hold on to the buyback, and they're just going to give up this middle barracks, but they show that they can defend it for quite valiantly, and that Burma's time is running out, but will Burma even give any sorts of fucks? No. Will they just keep pushing in for the middle barracks? It's going to be difficult to say, as 12 to 25, Shackle Shot not latching onto Axe and holding anybody in place. Wall of Illusion just holding everybody in place. Darkseer is going to get trapped with the Stag Storm. Demonic Purge and the Glimpse holding everybody. Darkseer is so tanked, but still dies nonetheless to the massive barrage of spells, but looks like Shadow Demon is going to die to zombies, kills the zombies as much as possible. Windrunner is caught in the middle of the Scourge lineup and the Rax, and that's an unfortunate place you want to be in for the Windrunner. The durability of G7 is just too much, as Naga Siren costs the Song of the Siren. Will the Tombstone, will they get this round off? Just trying to catch as many people as Crystal Maiden, dropping the ultimate, just pick up a for sure kill. VR Cat on a killing spree. This G7 Live just proving to be so difficult to bring down. So much healing. Darkseer is going to respawn relatively soon. It's going to teleport back into the middle tower. Meanwhile, Morphling is just going to have to wave the heck out of there. Picked up the middle racks. And what will G7 decide to do? Naga Siren did respawn. Darkseer is respawning. And Naga does not have enough money for the reins, but looks like Dirge wants to go on the offensive. He senses blood. He knows, as a true zombie, when to go in for the kill. Axe whiffs the Berserker's Call. Axe taking a bunch of damage. Looks like Puck might take the fall nonetheless. No, Puck escapes. Looks like Axe, unfortunately, does not die. Morphling is going to be caught up in the middle of so many heroes. He's going to take the fall. Morphling should try to buy back. If he has enough money to buy back, he should buy back, because this is the last chance of the Burmese squad, or from the MSIEvoGT squad. They sense that the top tier 2 tower is very low. They're going to try to kill that and then go for the middle or the top barracks. Axe and the Naga Siren squad just going to prove to be so difficult to deal with, so tanky, as Puck, Illusory Orbs, and Power Shots not proving to be very, very effective throw. Somehow picked up a level 11. It is 26 in the game, so I guess it's not too surprising. But it's still going to get held in place, and the Ion Shell with the Frostbite still on the outside of the Kinetic Field, so Ion Shell did so much damage. Meanwhile, Ensnare holding puck in place. Illusions being casted once again, does not even need any sorts of radiance. Berserker's Call being cast on the puck, going to be the next one to fall. Shoti the Nana picks up another kill to add to her repertoire of skulls to bring her down to the watery grave. Should he decide to go that, but no, does not want to die to the grave. Looks like Shadow's going to be the next one to fall. MSIEvoGT is just crumbling under the immense amount of pressure, not giving them any room to breathe, and they are literally suffocating to the G7 squad. Darkseer just being a boss, tanking up everything just because he can. And this Burma lineup, Radiance is picked up from the Naga sign, clearing creep wave so much easier. Naga is very low HP, while Morphling's going to have to get the heck out of their waveforms out, and looks like Mechanism's going to be popped. Can they stop this incoming G7 push? Shackle Shot did latch on the Dirge, holding to a creep, but Song and Sign is casted. One more combination. Can they get the Vacuum into the Wall of Illusion combo? Yes, here it comes. Berserker's Call. Crystal Maiden, Freezing Field, and VR Cat picks up another kill. 3 heroes immediately die for MSIEvoGT squad. What a combo, executed perfectly. What a fitting end to this game, because I do not see any hope of MSIEvoGT coming back. And indeed, there is a good game, as G7 takes out MSIEvoGT in the group stages of the GEST July. What a game. Just the immense amount of pushing power by G7 squad, utilizing Dirge and Darkseer to their fullest with some axe help, and Crystal Maiden played her part to perfection, but still I think the Darkseer picking up so many items so early on was just too difficult to deal with. So nice job by Kenji, the Darkseer. So will this be the day that Burma gets out of the group stages of the GEST July? We will wait and see, but still MSIEvoGT showed their mettle. They defended for quite a long time, lasted until the 30-minute mark, which is nothing to be ashamed of, as looks like they want to still defend. Disruption being casted, Stack Storm, Darkseer being held in place, but no manage to get out. Glimpse holding the Darkseer in place. Axe is going to be the next one to fall. No, he's just so tanky. Soul Rip keeping him alive, and looks like Morphling takes the fall to the Kong Blade, and Puck is going to be a lot of trouble. Illusion Orbs in completely the wrong direction, is going to get constantly hurt by the Radiance and the zombies, and looks like he's just going to get ushered away back to the fountain, because G7, they do not want blood, they just want your towers, they want your Ancients to bleed dry with some green sap, as looks like Shaodin, Berserker's Call as a triple kill being picked up. Leo picking up an ultra kill, fitting retribution for the axe, considering the miserable time he had during the laning phase. And what a game by G7, and can they make it out of the group stages for once in the GEST July? Wait and see, but still the international competition, or the Southeast Asian competition, proving to be very tough. So do not expect an easy win for the Philippines this time. And MSIEvoGT, a 2-time winner of the GST in April and May. Will they not make it out of groups? That remains to be seen. But still, we'll see more GST July matches in the near future as the G7 squad take down the throne. So looks like I'm just going to pause it right here, because I think this game is fully over. Mega Hughes is called. So what a game played by MSIEvoGT. Here's the final score screen. So as usual, 13-37, my god, almost tripling up the MSIEvoGT squads. One of the strongest teams in the Philippines at this moment, along with Pacific.Emacs. So MSIEvoGT falling to the G7 squad. What an upset in the group stages. So this GST July proving to be very, very interesting indeed, and I will bring you yet more coverage of GST July in the very near future. So as usual, thank you all for watching, and please, for a birthday gift, please follow me on Twitch so I can get a partnership with that. And of course the links are in the description below. But thank you all for watching as usual, and more GST July coming up very, very soon. So thanks all for watching, and have a fantastic day.